the food is very good in Africa. I love it. People ask me what my favorite food is. I will say African food because it's just so good. It's very simple. It's fills you up pretty well because they don't have a lot, so they need a kind of food that will keep you full for a while, so you don't have to eat again. Between the two nations, there are some basics that are similar, like rice. Everyone eats rice in both places. That's very African. No matter where you go, you'll eat rice. Plantains are very popular. They're really good when they chop them up into little slices and then fry them in oil. That's really good. I would say there's a lot more food in Cameroon itself than Congo, because I can count how many eating appointments I had in Congo on one hand. I think it was like 3 or 4. And we had some weddings where I sampled some food, but definitely more familiar with Cameroon food just because I ate it more. Because they just have less in Congo. It's a lot poorer nation because their farms got destroyed during the Congo Wars in the 90s, and they haven't replanted them since. But in Cameroon, one thing that they eat a lot of is this one dish called indole. Basically, like most things in Africa, they take a plant and they cut it up, and this one's especially bitter, so they have to wash it several times to get the bitterness out. And then they cook it in oil, and then you eat it, usually with rice or plantains. That's pretty much everything. They have things called lecoq. They have other things called sanga. It's just very different plants or grasses cut up and cooked in oil. Some have corn in them. Some have sugar in them. Some have peanut butter in them. Some just sort of taste like wet grass, especially in Congo. They have the one thing called trois pièces, which is French for 3 pieces. They put fish, peanut butter, and one other thing. Some plant. I don't know what's it called. It's a certain leaf they cut up. They throw it in there. But my favorite thing I ate in Cameroon was definitely this dish they have called fufun gumbo. We actually have gumbo in America. If you ever had what's it called? Like Cajun cuisine. They have it there, like in Louisiana. It's not nearly the same. Basically chopped up okra. If you've ever had okra, it's very slimy and sticky. So they use a lot of that. So when you eat the soup, if you eat it with a spoon, you just grab a spoonful and you pick it up, and the soup's here, your spoon's here, and it's connected still. And it sounds gross, but it's actually really good. I like it. A lot of other elders didn't, but that was probably my favorite. Fufu, on the other hand, it's prevalent in basically all of Africa, and they eat it in Congo and Cameroon. It's a little different in both places. My favorite kind is where they take this certain root. In English, it's called cassava. In French, it's called manioc. They dry it out. It's basically like a potato. A big potato, like this big. They dry it out, break it into little pieces, and they crush it into a powder. Heat up some water. They dump the powder in. You get, basically, if you've ever been to like a MLB baseball game, you get like the mini bat. You get like a mini bat, essentially. And they stir that with the mini bat. Stir the powder in the hot water until it turns into a giant sticky ball. And it's very hot, it's very sticky, and it sort of tastes like sour potatoes, but in a good way. I know it sounds kind of gross, but it's actually really good. You take it, you pull off a little bit, you form it into a ball, and you use that ball, you stick in whatever thing you're eating, be it gumbo or some kind of soup or stew or whatever, and then you use that as a spoon and you eat that. It's very popular over there. It's my favorite, far and beyond my favorite. Let's see what else. Beans are very popular because they're very easy to make. But one of my favorite things is in Congo. They have a thing that's called kwanga. It's amazing. It truly is amazing. It's the same root that they use for fufu, the manioc root. What they do instead is they take it and they grind it up, and they mix it with water, and they form it into like a log. And certain logs cost more depending on the size. You can get some that are this big and like that round, some that are this big and this round. Those are for like parties or weddings. They take it and they wrap it in leaves, and then they boil it, and they pull it out, and it's done. You eat it. They had the same thing in Cameroon, except they cook it and then they bury it in the ground for a few days and let it ferment. So it gets kind of gross. I don't like that one. But in Congo, it's really good. And I eat that very, very often. Trois pièces and kwanga, because they don't have a lot, but they eat those, and it's very, very good. Very inexpensive too. You can get a log. It's like this big, that big around, for the equivalent of 20 US cents, and that'll tide you over for a little while. They drink soda, kind of a lot. because it's sort of, you either drink beer or you drink soda, because the water can be kind of questionable. You're not supposed to drink water from like members' houses, like, or the faucet or wells. I did anyway because it's just so hot that you just drink water. But oftentimes people offer you like a Coke or a Fanta or Sprite. Those are very popular. They have some regional ones. I think my favorite one is this one's called Gino, and it's basically like a fruit cocktail soda, but it's produced in Cameroon only. So if you go to Congo, you won't be able to see it. If you go to Congo, you'll be able to get passion fruit Fanta soda, which you don't find in the United States. So drink that up while you can, because it's very good.
So in Congo, they basically eat the same thing every day, and it's called saka saka. That's manioc or cassava leaves, manioc in French. And so they take the leaves and they mash them up. They have like these big wooden bowls, like mortar and pistol things, where they just mash up the leaves. They mash them, they shred them, and they take them and they add like onions and garlic, some fish, maybe some eggplant, and they boil it for hours. Just boil it for hours and hours and hours. And then they take this pot of boiling oil and pour it into this leaf muck that they made. And it makes this chow chow noise. We're asking the recipe from somebody, and they're like, chow chow. If it makes chow chow, you know you did it right. And they eat that. It's called saka saka. They can eat it with beans, which makes it saka saka medesu. And they eat it with rice. They'll eat it with the manioc root. Is very, very common. Manioc is the staple there. They'll eat the leaves. They'll take the roots, and they do anything with the roots. They can mash them up and boil them, mix them up. They make fufu with it, and which is like this dough. Not really a dough. It's I don't even know how to explain it. It's just like a starch that you can like mold into like a sort of like a tortilla scoop. And let's use that to eat your food with your hands, which is always really fun. But Congo makes really good manioc fufu. Delicious. The other food that they eat there a lot is called mwamba. It's the noix de palme, or palm nuts. And they mash those up, and it makes this really oily orange sauce that they'll eat with rice and leaves. And in Congo, it's right on the coast. So they have a lot of fish. And usually they have dried fish or smoked fish. It's pretty common that they'll cook with, as well as salted fish. So you'll be walking down the street and just see fish skinned, lying open in the sun with just salt all over them. Hundreds of flies all over them. That's just, you can't avoid it. You just get accustomed to the flies after a while, because they are everywhere in the Congo. But I enjoyed the salted fish. They'd make it into this oily sort of a sauce with onions and bell peppers and tomatoes. Very salty, but really, really delicious. And that was basically everything that they eat in the Congo, were those two meals: saka saka, saka saka medesu, and mwamba. I mean, there's other stuff, but like almost on a daily basis they eat saka saka. That was the Congo. In the Congo, the weirdest thing I ate was tripe, just intestines of I don't even know what the intestines were. I don't even know what animal they were from, but they served it with tripe and beans. They fed us warthog, which was really delicious. I've seen python. They sell python. They sell crocodile. They sell. The weirdest thing I ever saw. We're walking down past these railroads. There's a man holding parrots upside down. It's like, do they sell them as pets? No, they sell them to eat them. This guy was just selling these parrots. We thought about buying some, but no one wanted to clean it. So no, we won't eat that. So yeah, that was the weirdest stuff. Bats. They eat bats too. That's the weirdest stuff I saw in the Congo.